For centuries, humans have been looking into the night sky, wondering what was there. It always ignited our imagination from the moment we learned how to think. Once upon a time, two nations weren't just battling on Earth, but trying to conquer the stars. This is one of the most thrilling chapters in the human history, the space race. Two nations, one mission, to claim space or to be left behind. It all started in the 1950s, a time when the world was split between two rival camps, the United States and the Soviet Union, and they both wanted to dominate the final frontier, outer space. The stakes were as high as the stars, but neither side wanted to lose. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union sends a shockwave through the world by launching the first ever artificial satellite, Sputnik, a shiny metal sphere as the size of a beach ball, sending simple radio signals. On November 3, 1957, the Soviet Union launches Sputnik 2, carrying a stray dog from Moscow called Laika into space. This marks the first time an organism has been sent into the orbit. Laika became an instant celebrity, but tragically, the technologies that were required to bring her back safely did not exist yet, and she did not survive the flight. But her mission provided valuable data that later helped humans travel safely into space. On January 31, 1958, the United States enters the space race by sending Explorer 1, its first satellite to reach orbit. It carries scientific instruments that led to the discovery of the Van Allen radiation belts. And on October 1, 1958, NASA was created in the US, taking over the NACA. This marked a significant organizational shift in the American space efforts. On April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin becomes the first human ever to leave the Earth and touch the stars. He was not just flying 108 minutes in his spacecraft called Vostok, he was making history. Imagine being one of the first humans to ever look down at Earth from space. One of his famous phrases is "Поехали," which means let's get started. On June 16, 1963, Valentina Tereshkova becomes the first woman and the first civilian to travel into space. She spent a total of 3 days and 48 rotations around the Earth aboard her spacecraft Vostok 6. But in 1961, the US President John F. Kennedy declared a bold challenge. He stood before the Congress of America and said that they would send the first man to the moon and bring him safely back. On July 16, 1969, the world holds its breath as Apollo 11 rockets to the moon. With 3 astronauts abroad, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Connors. 4 days later, humanity witnessed an event that would change history forever. Wait, but before we go to the moon, let's learn some fun facts about our closest cosmic neighbor. Number 1. The moon has moonquakes, similar to earthquakes but on the moon. This is due to gravitational forces. Number 2. You cannot hear any sound on the moon, and this is due to the fact that the moon has no atmosphere, so it is eerily silent. And number 3, if you weigh 125 pounds on Earth, you would weigh 25 pounds on the moon. This is due to the lower gravity levels. And back. On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong becomes the first human ever to set foot on the moon, and his words echoed for time. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The space race may have ended, but its legacies continue. The space race gave us technologies that we use every single day, like computers that have kickstarted the digital revolution to satellites that help us power our GPS and a mindset that nothing is impossible. Today, we are looking towards Mars, other moons, and beyond, with new players like SpaceX, India, China, and UAE, with its mission Arab to Mars, are leading the way. Today, countries work together in space. With projects like the International Space Station, the spirit of competition gave way to the spirit of collaboration. In the end, the space race wasn't just a battle between two nations, it was a triumph for all humanity. And the best part, the journey to stars is just getting started. The universe is calling. Will you answer it? And that was Rizlana Science. See you in outer space.